All right, so Praelexis is all about making things better, helping companies out. But I read the other day that bra here from Pretoria, that Elon Musk said that we have to be mindful of this AI thing until we actually know what we're doing. So Alta, tell me, my dear, do we know what we are doing?
I think it's difficult to say if we know what we're doing, but the one thing that we do have at Praelexis is we have one of our core values, which is responsible AI for a sustainable future. And Elon Musk is just one of the many voices that adds to the choir of people that raises their concerns about AI. Don't get me wrong, it will most likely start replacing some of the more mundane tasks, those everyday tasks that you can automate, so the things you don't want to do necessarily. But we really do believe that humans will always be part of the solution. So if you allow machines to be machines, and then humans to do what humans do best, and that is being creative. So ML, AI, it will just become part of the tool sets that humans use to help them be creative and actually help with better decision making.
So humans need to remain human beings and allow the machine to become machine doings.
Yes.
More or less.
That
right?
is it.
So when you talk about machines, you talk about people, I'm immediately reminded of that movie where that bra said, "I'll be back." So Johan, machines and people, I can well imagine that there might be times that they don't agree.
There are often times that they don't agree, so there are many ethical pitfalls when we deal with something as powerful as AI, and we need to be cognizant of that. I'm always reminded about the story that's told by Goethe, the German poet. He has a story called The Sorcerer's Apprentice. So it's about a wizard, and I almost want to say his intern, and he was teaching this intern all these spells, these magic spells. And then one day he left for town, and he left his intern with some household chores to do while he was staying behind. And so this guy was very lazy, as interns sometimes are. And so one of the things he did is he thought, well, he can do some magic now. So he's going to take a broom, and then he's going to put a magic spell on this broom, and then the broom can do the household chores on his behalf. So he cast the spell on the broom, and the broom went about and actually fetched some buckets of water, and he brought it back, and so that they can wash the floor, etc. But the one problem was this intern didn't know how to switch the damn thing off again, so he didn't get to that part yet, in terms of what's the spell to stop this broom from doing what it's doing. And so all he could think about is he took an axe and he cut the broom in half. But now we had two brooms that came and fetched pails of water, and everything was flooded, so he just increased to the problem. And then the wizard returned, and the wizard cast the right spell, and everything stopped. And then the wizard told the intern these words. He said that if only a master can invoke and should invoke powerful spirits, and that is how I see AI. It is something that is very powerful, but we need to look at what we are doing. We need to assess the risk. And afterwards, over a glass of wine, I can tell you about the things that we at Praelexis said no for. That we said, no, we don't want to do those kind of works, that kind of work. And we forgo the profit rather than doing things that are too risky and that is not right to do. So in Praelexis, they've mentioned now responsible AI for a sustainable future. It is very important for us. Things like data privacy, things like human dignity, things like that there's no bias in algorithms, etc., that there's fairness in what we do and in the data sets, etc. And that is a process that already in the design process of what we do, that should be incorporated. So we have something in Praelexis that we call the Responsible AI Forum, and this forum looks at every single thing that we do for clients, and we see whether we want to take it on, whether we can connect it to the Sustainable Development Goals, as McAllery has mentioned, and then we know how we can take it through that process. And we know that some things are too risky and we don't want to go there, and we want to put checks and balances in the process so that we know that the algorithms that we create do the things that they're supposed to do, and that the human in the loop can always have the governance over that process. So yes, so therefore if we are doing work in agriculture, for example, we connect it to the whole Sustainable Development Goal of food security. There's always this basic thing that we want to connect to that creates meaning. In the banking, we work a lot in the banking and financial services and insurance industry. Like I already mentioned that as well. If it's about what we do in the fintech environment, it's about creating financial literacy, financial education, alleviation of poverty, etc. So we really, that is really where we cut our teeth, so to speak. It's in the fintech environment, but there are indeed other environments as well. I think my colleagues should speak to that. We don't only work in banks.
Oh, okay. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Yes, so we don't just work in banks, but the bank industry and the financial industry is our first love, so to speak. So in that space, we've developed a product called Praelexis that manages credit models. And at this stage, we're also working on a new innovative product that we will release it in the risk space, where it will tackle things like money laundering and financial fraud. And with these kind of products, we want to add value to the banks so that they can again add value to their customers.
But the great thing about machine learning and AI is that it transfers well between many different topics and industries. As Johan mentioned, one of our core values is creative craftsmanship. So the way we see it is that if you have data and you have a meaningful objective you want to achieve, then we want to be involved with something like that.
Yeah, so for example, in health and wellness, we work with managed care organizations and medical schemes where they focus on the wellness of their members. So we've partnered with Intelligene in the field of genetics, and we've built a system in precision medicine. So what the system does, it looks at how your genes basically impact the metabolism of your medication. And then this information is made available to your doctor. So your doctor can use this information and then decide on the best treatment for you.
Yeah, and the solution doesn't just focus on pharmacogenetics.
Yeah, no, that's really, really cool. So it also tells you a little bit about how genetics impact your lifestyle. So professional athletes, for example, can use this information based on their genetics to decide how they want to train, what they need to eat, how they need to rest, and then also how to prevent injuries going forward.
Yeah, and so essentially where there's data, there's potential for a solution. So let's make an example. Let's say, Gillian, that you own a massive farm in Cape Town.
That's a bad example.
You've got wheat fields, you've got cattle, but the cattle are crossing the highway and there's drought. And,
Okay.
you don't know what to do. Wouldn't you love to know what your harvest will be for next season?
Of course. I mean, I would even want to know if I can get Siri to tell the doctor that I might be sick next week. But yeah, so tell me more.
Exactly. So if you could send us your farming records for the past few years, your weather data, your satellite imagery, we can build you a model that can predict that yield for the next season. And not only that, if we get a good enough model, we can then tell you how to edit the way that you do your farming practices to actually get the best out of your farm. Say you've got a scenario where you have a factory full of machinery, and you want to know when's this machinery going to break, because the moment it's broken, you're not making money. Send us your sensor data for those machines, and we'll be able to tell you when that's going to happen and preempt that breakdown.
So whenever there's data available, in principle, you've got a solution that helps people to make better decisions.
Exactly. Say you have, you want to find out if a patient in hospital has vein sclerosis, but your doctors are all busy saving lives. Well, don't pull them in to come look at the MRI. Send them to us, and we'll build a machine learning model that does that instantly for you. Say you've got a fleet of vehicles that are traveling around, and you want to know, has one of these vehicles that's gone offline been in a critical accident, or has it just hit a pothole that's common around South Africa? We will, if you give us your tracking data, we will be able to build a machine learning model that will do that for you. Say your business, you want to reach out to your clients, but you don't have the workforce to do the amount of phone calls and the communications that you want. Send us your documents, send us what your goals are, and we can build you a large language model that can communicate with those clients in the way that you want to convey that knowledge to them. Essentially, what we're saying is if you've got the data, if you've got something that you want to achieve, machine learning can be your best friend when it comes to getting those insights that you need that are critical for your business.
Well, so I mean, it's either that you use it to have almost like a big brother is watching you, or if you use the data properly, you have a friend. It's almost like that Joshua Daw theme song. You've got a friend in the fun, but you've got a friend in the data mining business. Praelexis. But maybe, I mean, I'm talking about friends. Wasn't there a Toy Story theme song also that had a friend?
Randy Newman.
Is it?
Do you know it, Vina? You got a friend in me, yeah. You got a friend in me. And when the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said, son, you got a friend in me, yeah. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got troubles, well, I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. And if we stick together, we can see things through. Son, you got a friend in me. Oh, you got a friend in me. Now, some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, and some are bigger and stronger too. Maybe, but none of them will ever love you the way I do, 'cause it's just me and you. And as years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You've got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Oh, you got a friend in me. Boom, hey, hey, yeah.